Invasion Angle.
Welcome back to the Invasion Angle podcast. Our guest today is someone who made a lasting mark on professional wrestling through charisma, unforgettable promos, and a connection with the crowd that few could match. From championship moments to some of the most memorable rivalries of his era, he became one of the most recognizable voices in wrestling. Through every stage of his career, he stayed true to himself both in and out of the ring. Please welcome the endlessly entertaining and always outspoken Ken Anderson.
Endlessly entertaining. I love it. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Welcome to Invasion Angle Pod. Yeah. That was, I think, his
Yeah.
longest intro he's done for anybody for an interview. So that was
Yeah.
that was prime for you. But yeah, how you doing? So you're saying you're living in Minnesota, so you're like outside Minneapolis area, or
Yeah, right in the heart of downtown Minneapolis, actually.
okay.
That's awesome.
So I was, ground zero
Right
Yeah.
now.
for the ice activities this last year.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And then
It
and then you
was
had the riots, and 6, 7 years ago now before that too. And yeah. I
but
actually
the riots, I mean, like my wife and I on that day, we were like, what's going on? The news showed buildings burning and stuff. Like we tried getting, and you couldn't see anything. Everything occurred in like a 2 block radius.
yeah, that's
All
what
of
it seemed like.
Yeah.
Yeah, the footage.
The
Yeah,
news
it's
always sensationalizes and overhypes everything, you know?
yeah,
I
no,
remember,
100%.
I remember do you guys remember Occupy Wall Street?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right? It just showed people camped out. I thought that it was like this huge area. If you go there today, it's this tiniest little park. It's it's like half a city block, not even half a city block. It's like a third of a city block where everybody was camped out. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how they skew things sometimes, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And unless you're
But
really
yeah,
there, you don't really know, so it's yeah,
Yep.
that's how it
yeah.
goes. But
I wanted to ask you, being from Minneapolis, never been, but me and John are huge Prince fans. Do you enjoy Prince?
Definitely. That was the first. I remember when I was a kid and I got a tape player, a cassette player. That was my wife just laughed. I heard her laugh, like, 'cause I'm old. Um, but I got 3 cassette tapes for Christmas one year. It was the first like cassette tape, and it was Prince of the Revolution, Purple Rain, Iron Maiden, Power Slave, and Twisted Sister Come Out and Play were the three. So it
Oh
was like
yeah,
the first tape that I ever owned was Purple Rain.
that's awesome.
yeah, probably one
Yeah,
of my
it's
all-time fave movies for sure. Yeah, but I visited there once, and Paisley Park was pretty cool. It's like it's a little weird now with obviously him passed away, like going there and stuff. Like it's just this, I don't know, it feels like his presence is still there or something. It's
I
it's cool though.
I've never been. One of my students is actually his nephew.
oh right
And
on.
Wow, wow.
yeah, he talks about growing up and being around him and um yeah, Prince is definitely there. If you go to the mall, not the Mall of America, but at the airport here, there is a store dedicated to Prince. It's kind of cool just to go in there and look around.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, so you have a school in Minneapolis, the Academy School of Professional Wrestling, and you trained, I mean, many notable talents from Tiffany Stratton to Top Flight to Julia Hart to Gable Steveson. I just wanted to ask, like, how does it feel to like give back to the biz and like, what is something that you try to pass on? Like, if you can't pass on anything, what is the most important thing?
It's more rewarding than I ever imagined it would be to to help people. Like, if everything ends tomorrow, my career is over. I had a good run. I really had a good run. I got to do and see some incredible things, meet people that I never imagined I would be able to rub elbows with. I got to make a movie, a couple different movies. done some just amazing things. And so my goal is to give access to that stuff to as many people as possible. Like I want to help you have those same experiences. So now whenever my students have one of those moments, it's like proud dad moment for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say it
That's
probably
awesome.
feels like, does it remind you of like that feeling you had when you first like were getting kind of some of these
Absolutely.
big breaks, like yeah, probably even better as you're kind of saying. Yeah,
No, it's
that's
like that's what I set out to do when I opened up the school, and to actually have those moments where my student gets booked as an extra for WWE for his first time.
yeah,
And I'm able to like, give him pointers, like just don't worry about this too much. Do this, make sure you do this, make sure you don't do this. If
yeah,
there's anything that I can give to my students, it's what not to do in the business. As much as
yeah,
I'm able to tell them what to do, I've also made every mistake possible in the wrestling business.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's always great knowledge to have is what mistakes to avoid, down the road. So that yeah, because I'm sure wrestler after wrestler has made a lot of the similar mistakes and depending on whatever it is, TV and ring. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I know he gets credit for this quote, and I think he was a dick in real life. But Thomas Edison said, "I know 2,000 ways not to make a light bulb."
yeah, 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 that's true. It took him a while until you could, I guess, start buying out other people's tech and have like a million
Their
scientists.
patents.
Yeah. So I kind of, you were saying about Thomas Edison, I kind of felt the same way. He kind of just, yeah, got bought the
Stole
movie
everybody's
industry
ideas.
as well. Yeah.
Yep,
But,
just stole everybody's ideas.
yeah. I'm
What's it
sure.
called? Sorry, John, I'm cutting you off.
No,
But
yeah, yeah, go for it.
speaking of movies, I don't know. I've listened to a bunch of your interviews to get ready for this, but you said that acting is like a real passion for you, and just want to know if that's something like you want to keep pursuing, like down the road, and yeah, just in general.
I'm actually right now. I'm just signing on to do a movie here in July. Just a couple days shoot, just for a small role in a movie, but definitely that's something that I'm pursuing as we speak. So
That's awesome.
it
Yeah, I
was,
mean,
before I even knew that wrestling was a thing, that I didn't grow up a wrestling fan. I just didn't. But I did always want to be an actor. I always wanted to entertain people in some way. And I was the guy that was at parties in high school, standing up on the chair, telling jokes, doing impressions of my students, my fellow students and teachers, and you know, always trying to make people laugh. Class clown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think some of as far as, wrestlers on the mic or doing promos or anything like the ones who are the best actors really are kind of the best at a lot of those things, um, and can also kind of evolve and change things. Like, I don't know, for your character, like I remember, uh, I was still young when you got to WWE and, just like small nuances that gave signals to like, kind of a cool villain, just like how the gum always, like came out chewing like just like small things like that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was great. And as far
So
as that character, did you have like kind of films or certain actors you saw you kind of had in mind that kind of you're like, yeah, I really like this. Let me kind of grab that or
so the thing about the gum actually was not me trying to be cool. It was in fact the opposite. My grandma used to drive her nuts when she would see people. She's like, look at him chewing his gum like that. She'd see somebody chomping away. And so I remember just you just try to add little things to irritate people because I'm supposed to be a heel and I don't want you to like me. So any little thing that I can do, and I just felt like those little nuances, as stupid as it is, and it truly irritated Vince McMahon,
yeah,
who had seen everything in the business. And part of me, one of my biggest regrets was, it bothered him so much, and he used to jump on me as soon as I came through the curtain. And I wish that I would have just stood up to him and say, like, Vince, I'm supposed to be a dick. It's
Yeah,
irritating you. It's irritating you.
it's working. Yeah.
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 So, but as far as like there being a specific actor that I could pinpoint, I mean, I have my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Like my one of my favorite actors of all time is Vincent D'Onofrio, who I
Yeah.
think can play any character. Um, who played, Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
And we just watched the movie with him. It's kind of a sleeper, The Salton Sea, where he plays like this coke dealer that did so much coke that he doesn't have a nose anymore, and he's just this crazy narcissistic, over the top character. Gary Oldman is another of my favorite
Yeah.
actors. Jim Carrey, I know it's like a complete departure from those two, but like Jim Carrey, and I see a lot of Jim Carrey in my earlier stuff, almost to the point where I cringe when I
Well,
watch
yeah,
it.
well, that was what made it so like, as a heel character that was, getting a lot of cheers and like getting over with fans. I think like the comedy that you always added like made it impossible not for like for everyone to, even though you're a villain for good portions, like enjoy it, and
Yeah.
which, yeah, because I don't know, because you can get heat and cheered all back and forth. I feel like that's always kind of the strongest heel work, like I see, and just being able to go back and forth. But
Well,
yeah,
villains, real life villains don't, I think too many people get caught up in this, like, I have to do bad things all the time to be a villain. And it's like, nobody's like that in real life. Bad
no,
guys don't, bad guys don't think they're bad guys. They think
yeah,
they don't do stuff to intentionally be evil. They do fucked up stuff because they feel justified in doing so.
yeah.
And like, even the most evil people that you can think of have some redeeming quality about them, or at least some people.
Yeah, no, 100%, and always very high charisma levels because they can always, be
Jim
forgiven for
Carrey.
those things and yeah, move forward. And
Yep.
side note, you were talking Vincent D'Onofrio. I always tell people to watch Law and Order: Criminal Intent with him because it makes it a completely different show than the other ones as far as his character is just truly unbelievable, cool, eccentric, genius, and just I don't know. Did you ever
Really,
any of his stuff with that?
I've never seen Law and Order. Never.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean that's like my wife. A lot of people don't watch Law and Order, and like I've always caught random episodes of all the other shows. But when he did like
Mm.
Criminal Intent for a few years, it gives it completely different feel and it just feels like a different show because I don't know, he's just fantastic for sure.
Just
But
like he adds like elements to each one of his characters.
yeah,
It's
and
like very, very layered.
yeah, and it's like in the other shows, I don't really think, those long running shows, you don't see tons of growth of the characters. They're kind of who they are for 15, 20 seasons. But yeah, it was just like there was a continuity, it felt like, with his character. And yeah, I don't know,
Yep.
he's fantastic for sure. But
I feel like a lot of like solid actors, good hands, are just really good at being themselves,
yeah,
right?
that,
It's just, but you don't see like where he is able to play completely different characters, that you can look at one character and another character side by side, and it's like different people.
yeah,
Whereas another really, really good actor, Denzel Washington, right? I love Denzel, but he plays the same role
yeah,
in every one of his movies, roughly.
yeah, no, different version of Denzel for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of actors that are like, like Tom Cruise has done that for kind of a lot of films, minus Interview with a Vampire. I'll give it to him. He switched it up a little bit there, if only slightly, but still fantastic though. But yeah, I think like a lot of actors do well because it's coming from a real place and something they connect to. And I think people that have, yeah, maybe gone through more experiences can kind of go through these other characters, you know, like the Heath Ledgers and stuff in the world and stuff like that, where they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
completely change because they're drawing from like, yeah, real stuff. But
Daniel
um,
Day-Lewis, like there's another one.
yeah, yeah, he's like an actor that's like almost a director in the sense that he like, I'll put a masterpiece out every 4 to 6 years, or who knows, I'll retire, put a film out after 8 years gone. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever get another one like that where you can almost control the majority of his career, like 75%. I would say that sure he took some early stuff that he wanted to do, but yeah. But kind of talking about character work and stuff like that, like I think, you know, like as far as like current WWE, AEW, do you
Indies.
see any, do you see, yeah, and do you see like kind of some people that like would be good comparisons to you? Like, because with sports, wrestling, everything, everyone has a kind of comparison. Like, I see like for me, I would say like there had that you had to have been an influence in some way to like LA Knight. You know, he has his own character and everything, but like, and he's kind of found himself in a similar situation too, as far as being very over, going from heel to face, and um, you know, he's got the mic, you know, and he's got the comedy as well. And but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that, or who are some wrestlers that you kind of yeah
So this happened to me. My wife and I went to an AEW taping here in the Twin Cities. They came through here about a year ago, and one of my favorite wrestlers right now, I think I would, hands down, I could say best on the microphone, period, in the business is MJF.
yeah
And
Yeah.
I had like kind of a cool thing. My wife and I were standing by the monitor watching with another one of my students was standing right next to me, and MJF walked up to me and he was just like shook, he stuck out his hand, introduced himself. He was like, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you that he's like, you and Randy were it for me when I was a kid. Like I loved heels and you guys." And he goes, I still do certain things that I do in my repertoire. The way that I act sometimes is a direct reflection of like things that you used to do. And he's like, I don't know if you like me or hate me or whatever, but like I just felt like I needed to tell you that. And I just thought it was kind of a really kind of, I was like, I fucking love you, dude. Like, um, literally, I would say before this happened, I could say that's the guy who I watch and respect in the business right now. Like, um, and he walked away, and my student was just like, hmm, that's got to feel kind of good, huh? That's kind of cool. And it was just like, I'm glad he was there to see it.
yeah
Like, yeah, yeah. So it was just a cool moment, man. But MJF definitely is one of my favorites. I love that the fact that he is crossing over into acting now too, and
yeah
he's killing it. Like his role in uh Happy Gilmore
me
2
too yeah
like stole the show in many scenes, I think.
yeah. I think he was the best kid out of all of them, and he was with you know
Every scene
these
he was in.
seasoned actors too, you know. So it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah
But yeah, I get the comparison to LA Knight a lot.
yeah
And I also get people being negative about it and saying like, oh, he's trying to be this person, trying to be that person. And I think I if you talk to his real name, Sean Ricker, like if you talk
yeah
to Sean Ricker, he talks like that. Like he's
yeah
just literally himself on camera with the volume turned up, which is a cliche way to say what we do in the business, but that is ultimately what he's doing. And I think that we all steal from everybody.
yeah
And like, what I mean when I say steal, you borrow. You
Yeah.
see somebody that you like, I always tell my students when you're working on your punches, watch wrestling and there's everybody throws their punches slightly different. You know, Bret Hart throws a different punch uh, than Steve Austin, than you know any you can pick any name, and I always tell them like watch what they do and then try to sort of emulate that, put your own little spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I think that's like in any art form, it's like you want to take the things that speak to you because that's going to speak to someone else that sees things the way you do or whatever.
You know?
yeah, and just kind of end up making like kind of a collage and then modifying, combining things that you like, and then yeah, that's why a lot of cool music is made of just guys like a couple different genres, and then they popped out with something something brand new. But
Yep.
yeah, no, that's awesome. We actually saw MJF. We did make the trip to Queens for that for Double or Nothing, and yeah, he's gotten so good in ring too, like continually better and like very visible big jumps since he's been in AEW. Because like in watching wrestling for years, like you see like jumps in wrestlers' skill sets and on the mic and all that stuff. You kind of watch them grow up, most of them, because a lot of seeing them for years. And yeah, I mean, he was always great on the mic, but like from when he entered AEW to now, it's yeah. I mean, his in ring stuff is yeah. I mean, what kind of as far as people you trained, speaking of something similar to that, like uh, Tiffany Stratton, her flight to the top NXT WWE was a lot faster than really any male or women wrestlers, honestly, in her age and everything. Was that something you kind of saw from the start of, or as you started training, you're like very like picking things up very fast and huge jumps kind of in skill sets?
Yeah, I like to take credit for Tiffany, but I also recognize that had she gone to any different wrestling school, she'd probably still be where she's at right now. That's just the bottom line. She's just she's talented. She's got a certain gift, and yeah, it was I'd show her something one time and she would get it almost immediately. You know, she took constructive criticism extremely well, was able to like very, very coachable, just able to, hey, when you did this, you need to keep your head up a little bit longer when you're going over on your flip bump. I didn't even have to teach her how to do flip bumps and stuff like that, right? Like it's just there's just very little that I had to do. It was and we did promos, I remember, and I have her very first promo she ever did, and it is atrocious. Like
Yeah,
I mean, she would say that herself. I would say that to her. Um, hopefully someday I'll get permission from her to put it out there, or you'll see it on a documentary like that WWE might do on her,
yeah,
as I'm sure they will someday. Because while she excelled physically, she didn't necessarily get the character stuff. I never saw her when I turned on NXT for the first time and saw her come out and do her thing. I was like, who is that? It was
yeah,
just really, really amazing how quickly she picked things up. And then once she got the physical side of things down, then okay, now I can laser in on character work.
yeah.
So,
And doing that at a young age too, like you have to be, very strong mental on you too. And it's yeah, it's kind of it makes it even more amazing. I think about being like late teens, early 20s, and I'm yeah, always amazed by people reaching those heights at those young ages. It's
mhm.
yeah, but yeah. So
Somebody
yeah,
else too, Gable. Remember, he reached out and said, because remember, he won the Olympics and
yeah,
then he got signed to WWE and drafted to Monday Night Raw immediately, sight unseen. So he called the school and said, hey, this is Gable. I would like to come in and see about training, using your ring, just rolling around a little bit. please call me back. At first, I thought it was somebody. I was like, this has to be a prank call, right? I had
Yeah.
to actually go and watch a YouTube video and listen to his voice, and then, oh, that is him. And I called him back, and I was like, so what have you done so far? Like, how far along are you? And he was like, I haven't done anything. And I was like, nothing? No. Okay, well, come on in. And he came in, and I was like, so can you run the ropes? And he was like, no, I did literally, I've never been taught anything. It was just, it was mind blowing to me that he'd been signed by WWE for months and they just were sitting at home, not doing anything with them. But I get him in the ring for the first time, show him how to run the ropes. Have you ever been in a wrestling ring before? Have you ever like gone to a wrestling school at all, even for a little bit?
I've been in a ring, just I haven't ran ropes or been in wrestling school though. No.
So, okay, so like virtually every wrestler, every person that comes through the academy has been a wrestling fan their entire lives, with very little exception, right?
Yeah.
Like Tiffany being one of them, and Gable Stevenson being the other. Um, every person has watched wrestlers running the ropes. You don't even think about it. It's not even. It's just part of wrestling.
Yeah.
It is one of the hardest things to do, and one of the funniest things to watch people try to do for the first time. It's like watching Bambi try to take her first steps on ice. You
Yeah.
know, and people always do it a certain way where they look like they gotta go poop, where they're worried about they're just stepping across the ring. But with Gable, it was like I showed him how to do that. He picked it up almost immediately. I showed him how to bump, and then we always get up a certain way. You always get up and feed to your right, or you feed to your right. And he took the bump, which was a good bump, and he started getting up the wrong way. And I went, and he just went, oh yeah, and he just reversed himself back down and executed it almost perfectly right away. It was just, and I never had to tell him again. So
Yeah.
it's and it's the thing is working with people like that is easy.
Yeah.
The athletes, the people that are super athletic and they have tons of charisma, it's easy to work with those guys. To me, it's more challenging and more rewarding actually when I get to work with people that struggle a little bit. Because
Yeah.
now, like, okay, how do I figure out? It's a challenge to me.
Yeah.
And then the reward comes, of course, when they figure it out. See that light bulb.
I read somewhere that you only had 21 matches in like the Indies and OVW before you signed to WWE. And is that true?
But hell no.
The internet
No,
lies, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely
Glad
not.
you can clear this up.
Where did you read that?
I actually heard it in a video essay on
That is
YouTube.
that's amazing. No, like I probably had 21 dark matches
Mm,
before I got signed to WWE. I literally had at least a dozen Sunday Night Heat, um, or Velocity or Jacked Metal dark matches, stuff like that. Just in WWE, I worked the Indies for 6 years trying to knock the door down. I had hundreds of matches leading up
yeah.
to it. If you go, it's like cagematch.net. It has every match that I'd ever had for the most part. And it's pretty crazy because there's matches on there from my independent days that I didn't even remember that. I didn't think about that. And they have who I wrestled, where it was, what the outcome was. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, cage match is pretty amazing, honestly. I think it's rated every wrestling federation that ever existed, even if it was an indie that was open for 3 days or three shows, you know. But
Yeah.
I was talking about indies. What is, because I try to hit up every indie scene. I like to travel a lot, like throughout the country. And what is it currently like in Minnesota, Minneapolis area?
Um, it's a hotbed right here.
Yeah.
There's tons, there are tons of opportunities for people to work shows. Like you could work pretty much every weekend, multiple times a weekend too. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's a show going on somewhere in the Twin Cities or in the surrounding area.
That's
So
good to know
that's the
because
nice thing because I don't like work exclusively or directly with any promotions. Like um, they're not like tied into the academy.
yeah,
However, when my students are ready to go, there's like a handshake deal between all the different promotions or most of the promotions
yeah,
that when you're ready, you'll have an opportunity to sort of jump in, dip your
That's
toe in
cool.
the water, so to speak.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, when I was like younger, getting into watching wrestling and everything, I remembered like TNA started being a thing, and I was like, finally, like a alternative like on television. Just mostly, not that I like picked a side, but it was just mostly like I need something to watch every single day of the
Hmm.
week, and so that was like always really cool. Like even after you left WWE, going there, being able to
Hmm.
see you there, but now it's like the for lack of a better word, the market's kind of like oversaturated, and like
There's,
it's kind of awesome, but like just definitely downsides. But I don't know. What is your take on that?
that's it. It's like it's hard to complain about it, but it is a lot. There is, I remember, and it's gotten, I think, exponentially worse or better, however you look at it, since this occurred. But when Davari and I were opening up the academy, we decided, hey, let's live tweet during Raw, SmackDown, all the different shows. And it's a job. Raw's 3 hours or was 3 hours at the time, and SmackDown, and then you've got NXT, and then you got TNA, and then you got AEW, and like it's really hard. It was almost like a full-time job just doing that, just watching wrestling. And there are some people who exist, like the guys over at what's the Sirius XM radio show
Busted
that
open.
Busted Open, right? Like those guys watch everything. And I hats off to them, but I can't. There's no way I could do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's why I appreciate
But
like we usually have a third member of our podcast, but his power's out right now, so he's definitely sad he's missing this. But we all watch kind of different stuff a little bit because it's like how many hours in a week can like you go to work and then also watch all of the wrestling in the world. So it's like we kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of what's cool about this show is we kind of give to each other some insight on like what's going on in what world. But yeah, it's definitely a lot.
there's a different flavor for everybody. That's definitely the Baskin Robbins analogy works better than ever.
Yeah. No, I always tell people that don't watch wrestling, they always kind of ask me like, they just don't get it. Like overall, like give references
I
like
guess
that, different choices. Like I was like thinking about music, you have different genres. Like hardcore wrestling is like punk rock or something, and the WWE more mainstream. But I don't know.
I just don't get it. I don't understand what it is that some people are just
It's
totally
weird.
resistant to. It
Yeah,
is very weird to me. It's almost like I don't want to trust them. It's like
yeah,
and the other thing that I was really dawned on me recently is people that don't like video games or like have this like I don't understand. Well, you get to like everybody loves watching movies and television shows and stuff. Like you get to like actually do it now in some of
yeah,
the cases, right? Like you get completely immersed into these storylines and stuff, and it's problem solving and it's hand-eye coordination. I don't get it. I don't understand. And the people that still to this day say like I don't, it's fake, wrestling's fake. Every like Iron Man is fake too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No, to me, like what I observed, kind of growing up and looking back at it, like, it kind of like I feel like a lot of people, it's just like around probably fifth or sixth grade, fourth grade, when they realized wrestling was fake, which was kind of late in life anyway, to tell you the truth. I kind of, I But it was the same reaction they had when like they were told Santa was fake, and all, but like, oh, it's for babies or something like that, and then they still talk like the way they do. Like when people say, I feel like I get flashbacks to being 12 and be like, oh, it's fake, and it's like
But you still
people,
like Christmas.
grown men. Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah.
you don't stop liking, oh, I can't like Christmas anymore because I know that Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah, but
No,
wrestling
it's
for
just
some reason it's like I don't know. Yeah. And then especially people that have like, yeah, as you said, like they'll like take issue with it. I was like, I just don't get it. It's just like, what? Like, it's a TV show and
yeah.
it's live. You watch Saturday Night Live. This is just a different genre, action, comedy, just everything. That's what I think that's what's great about like the indie scenes too, is like the indie, like always great comedy. Like I feel like it's it's always got some good stuff. And yeah, and you see it. So you see like, with like Danhausen, for instance, like,
Uh,
from where he's come and like get into WWE, and he's definitely as far as their comedy act, like, yeah, it's probably the most top-notch one they've had in a while. Obviously they've had R-Truth for a while, but I haven't
yeah.
seen WWE really have a super successful, like beyond human type character in a while. Like dispenses belief, and you just like, he's so funny, and like his characters, he's worked on it so long that it's like, it's, you're more engaged and you're not thinking about that. But
Mm.
um like,
You know, what-
but
you know what, too? Like, I think for those, there are people who are anti-wrestling, right? Like, I don't like wrestling, and then they come to a show, and I've had conversations with these people before. And they come to the show, and they're sort of like, I really, I had my doubts, but I really had fun tonight. But they still, it's almost like they've committed to not liking it for so long that it's
yeah,
almost become a part of their personality, and they still can't. Well, I still don't really like it, but I did have a great time tonight.
yeah,
It's like let
yeah.
yourself go.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of those people too are afraid to like grow or change or anything like that, and yeah, they just kind of become a
Yeah,
sick in the mode. I like what I like type stuff, and you know, the people
well,
meet those
because
people in their 80s that are like that, but some of those people in their 80s started doing that in their late 20s, early 30s. I like what I like, but
because we've made this idea that you stick to your guns no matter what a
yeah,
virtue. It's like, no. You'll ask somebody, like, what would change your mind about this? Nothing. What? Nothing? That's
yeah,
crazy. That's not a good way to live your life. I want to be I want to be right about as many things as possible and wrong about as few things as possible. But
yeah,
if you present me with it, if you convince me, you can convince me that I'm wrong, and then oh yeah, I was wrong, and I'll be the first one. I'm almost like happy to say, I can't believe I once felt like this about this.
yeah.
So
And then like I think, and that's when people grow the most too, is like when you are wrong about something, you just, then you added more knowledge and you're, building up towards something for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, but I don't know. I feel like a lot more new wrestling fans have kind of, in this big surge, I guess 2021. When was, I guess, the kind of the begin, getting through COVID, and the kind
Yeah.
of, things have skyrocketed, and obviously having a second alternative like AEW, I think was so helpful because I mean, to me it's like for the first time in years, like WWE had like competition, as like since when TNA kind of faded out, like there was just this gap, and they could just be complacent. They can kind of just do whatever. If it doesn't hit, whatever, we're still gonna have that same amount of viewers on Monday or Friday. And they had
Yeah.
finally had to start getting, going to the well and kind of, getting that creativity back, yeah, which is cool
I
to see.
think
But
WWE pro wrestling being accepted, you can't. It is starting to be more accepted mainstream. The fact that people on ESPN talk about wrestling,
yeah,
just like they go from NBA playoffs to wrestling out to NHL, back to Major League Baseball. It's like the fact that it's being spoken about and recognized on ESPN says a lot.
Yeah. And I think pro wrestling's influence on like things like UFC, like they started selling
Mhm.
a lot more pay-per-views when they had characters that could cut promos and create characters like
Yep.
McGregor, of course. I mean, one of the biggest money makers for them. And because I think early on it was kind of more trash talk press conferences that seemed a little bit more like boxing, but
Yeah.
that definitely turned around over the past, over a decade now, 15 years at this point. And yeah, and one of the highest paid actors in the world, The Rock, pro wrestler. So,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, it's kind of dipped its hands in everything and gone to the top of it. So, yeah, I think it's definitely in the most undeniable phase I've seen in a while for sure. But
It's a cool part. It's a cool time to be a part of the business. It really is.
yeah,
The
yeah, and
fact that there's so much of this, like there's podcasts and you know there's just so much content to consume, so many independent promotions out there
yeah,
alongside the major promotions. It's cool.
yeah. Yeah, and when you and kind of talking like the different promotions, like when you kind of look at your wrestling students and you see them progressing and they're getting ready to kind of go to any of the, top promotions, even outside the top two of WWE and AEW, can you kind of tell like I think he'd probably be better in this company because you can kind of look at the landscape or how he'd fit or compared to the other or
Yeah, definitely. You can tell like Top Flight, for instance.
yeah,
I don't. They needed to go to AEW first, for sure, to get television exposure. Um, but just the way that they wrestle, it just doesn't fit with the style. It just fits better over at AEW than it does now. Could
yeah,
they have gone to WWE immediately? Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I think um you can tell there are differences. I think most people should start out in TNA, a company like TNA.
yeah. No, yeah, I think it's good. We've like Sorrentino, MLW, a lot of GCW now is kind of doing its thing too. Like, yeah, getting that like kind of cutting promos backstage, starting to work on some storylines and stuff like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
like and talking kind of about indies, to me, one of the hottest, outside the big companies, indie promotions over the past year, JCW at what they've done with Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which, I was happy to see you kind of join in on that because I think really I'd always been seeing clips online of JCW. I always knew it was there. I've seen matches from it, and we had we had done a few of their went to a few of their shows during SummerSlam weekend up in like New York, New
Okay.
Jersey, and
Yep.
yeah, we had interviewed Mickey Knuckles too a little before then, and just starting to see the lunacy and kind of the story that some of the stuff they're doing I laughed or enjoyed more than a WWE AEW show some weeks, as far as just like the laughs and just great promos. All the backstage stuff is awesome because it's got that like WWE feel where it's like I feel like there's more storyline stuff going on than like even AEW is been giving us on TV. But then the in-ring stuff is always great, either hardcore or young wrestlers that are, very top notch in the ring. But yeah, how was your experience there and being able to be the champ there and kind of yeah
So one of the I guess WWE and even AEW for a long stretch there was this like family friendly. It's like it was just like one genre in wrestling. It was just family friendly, and I just hated that.
yeah
I was at WWE during the start of the PG era. Like,
yeah
I remember them telling me that I couldn't say we couldn't even say freaking. And it just like kind of frustrating me. The thing about JCW is like they have this it's not salacious just for the sake of being salacious, but it is an adult element to it. It's definitely like an 18 plus show.
Yeah.
And I feel like one, the locker room is awesome. It's made up mostly of people that are cutting their teeth and getting going. They're passionate about the wrestling business. They want to make it, but it's also got some people peppered in there that have tons of experience. Vampiro, Madman Pondo, guys like that who have tons of experience. Then like me and James Storm, um, that are able to be there and guide a little bit and produce certain backstage segments and matches. It's just a really good feel. The locker room is super cool. Violent J just a great guy. He loves professional wrestling and has been a part of the business for the last probably what 20. I mean, I've been in the business for 27. This is my 27th year, and he was part of the oddities. I think in like 98, 99 when
Yeah,
I first
98,
started.
99 era. Yeah. They did some stuff with WCW, I think, too, right? Or is that just
Yeah, I think he did actually.
I
Yep.
think they yeah, I can't remember. That might have been towards the end of WCW. I can't remember. I think they did WWE first though, for sure. But
I believe they did. Sorry, my cat is going crazy here. So
oh, you're good. Typically in these pods, my cats are usually climbing on me or swiping something off my counter. So
she's
I
just
get
yelling
it.
at me. She's just sitting here
Yeah.
continuously.
Yeah, mine took naps in the perfect timing. So I was cute, dude. Cats are the
Yeah,
best.
I think what's
They are.
cool. Sorry, you're good. Continue your thought.
No, I was
Yeah,
just
we're
gonna say
just
like,
cat dad talk. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was always a dog person, like I don't
Yeah.
like cats. And then my wife brought a cat home. She worked at a domestic violence shelter, and one of the residents there had a bunch of cats, a bunch of kittens, and I went to pick her up with the kids in the back seat. They were really young, and she said she texted me on my way there. She was like, "I did something. You're gonna be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me." And I was, like, can't be that bad, whatever. And she came. She had our our other cat curled up in her jacket, and she was like, just for the weekend." And I was like, "Just for the weekend, right?" Like,
Yeah.
but
I was
in saying that, I fell in love with that cat almost instantly, and I come to appreciate like they're so easy to take care of.
yeah.
Whereas a dog, you got to take them out 5 times a day. You got to clean up after them. You got
And
to
they
find a dog sitter if you go out of town for more than 8 hours. You know,
yeah. Yeah, they're very self-sufficient and yeah, they're that's kind of I was a dog person too, and then eventually, yeah, I don't know. Before I married my wife, was living on my own, just ended up getting a couple cats, and yeah, cat
also a
dad life
good
is
lesson. Also, like a good life lesson you uh, about like consent, right? Like cats come to you on their terms. You
yeah,
gotta, you can never force a relationship with a cat. It's like you just
Yeah.
yeah,
gotta let them come to you.
yeah, and their personalities are like funny in different ways than dogs, but yeah, they've got some crossovers with getting scared of funny things, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and we're kind of talking about WWE. I read something how initially for your theme song, or I don't know if they're going to make a new one for you, or the original one was supposed to be done by Avenged Sevenfold. Did they actually do the song and then it got stopped at the last moment, or had the song not been done yet?
No, I believe they did it, and I got fired. I believe before because I think it happened while I was out on my injury
Yeah.
because yeah, right before my last night, I've been gone for 10 months with I tore my labrum. And I think during that period of time, they had cut that song and it just never got used.
I wonder if they ended up putting on an album or a B-side or something, and
No,
just
in
wow.
fact, the lead singer did an interview recently where he talked about it, and they he goes, I don't even remember what it sounds like because I guess they recorded it and they gave it to WWE, like just gave it to them, and it's never seen the light of day, and they don't know where it is. So nobody's heard it. I mean, it's like a big mystery. I really want to like get to the bottom of it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I know. I'm interested. I was trying to, yeah, that's just what's so funny too. Like these multi-million dollar record companies and even film companies are like, oh yeah, we don't know where the original is. We don't have it. It's just like, yeah, it just shows you at any level there's dummies for sure that just lose lose things somehow. But I don't know. Maybe it'll pop up on a thumb drive one day and we'll finally
Yeah,
get to hear
hopefully.
it. But yeah, I know you were saying you preferred your TNA theme compared to the WWE one
Yep.
overall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I thought it was had more of an edge to it. The WWE one was cool though too. I think the intro always gets you, but yeah, TNA was great.
I
And
had a
then
couple different. There was a couple different versions of that actually in WWE. I had two different theme songs. The one that I started with, and it was done by Jim Johnson, and then I want to say that somebody else actually did a variation of that song. It was just a different, like the last 2 years that I was there, it was a different version than my first couple of years there.
yeah. Was that around and when did Jim Johnson part ways with WWE? I'm trying to
That I'm not sure.
yeah, because I don't think they because I'm curious if like they eventually like switch to something else like because I don't think they kept a bunch. Like I don't know any wrestlers that really come out to his originals anymore. Because I feel like even Undertaker stuff or other things have been like revised and re-recorded and like modernized, I guess. But yeah, but that's awesome. You got the legend to do your initial one for you, because that's huge. He's yeah, I don't know. He's made wrestling songs I can actually like listen to, like the Brood song. Like I can actually play that, and that's a jam, you
That's my
know.
favorite. That's my top five favorite entrance music. Is
Yeah,
definitely
it's
the Bird.
yeah, and it just like brought so much to the Brood too. Like of course vampires and stuff, but like I don't know, just that really added to the package of not turning it because sometimes that stuff can just turn into like characters like that can turn into jokes in wrestling if it's not done the right way, And yeah, that song is just yeah, live
It's
on
pretty bad.
forever, hopefully. Yeah. But and then talking about kind of like TNA, like you you got to work a lot of like programs with Kurt Angle and yeah, like I just felt like he similar chemistry you had with like the Undertaker. But what as far as Kurt, like that chemistry, was it kind of instant with you guys? Or yeah, obviously you build on it like anything else, so like things you can kind of figure out and do in the ring and everything, but was it just always kind of easy from the start with Kurt?
It really was. We got along backstage almost immediately, and at the time when I got this because John Cena had said that I injured him while he gave me a hip toss and he tore his back, right? So, and then the thing with Randy. And so like people were labeling me as dangerous and reckless and careless. And, I think Kurt knew that wasn't true and really, really was like he set out to like prove that wrong. Um, and the stuff that we did in the way that he trusted me in the ring, right out of the gates was pretty incredible. And I just the way that he operates and works, he is he's like a cyborg. Literally, he just doesn't have like there's no off switch. There's no rest periods during most wrestling. there's these peaks and valleys, right? And there still is with his storytelling. There has to be in storytelling. But with Kurt, like you're always moving. You're always cooking. You're never just sitting still. And it was just a really different style than I was used to, but really awesome at the same time. And I was able to have my favorite match that I've ever had or been a part of was the cage match that I had with Kurt in 2009. And just that whole story and the way that went down. And he was just super, super giving to me in that situation. I loved my program with Kurt.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure with someone like him too, it's like you gotta up your cardio going into a program and a lot of matches, something like that. Like
You have to. You're
probably
screwed if you
great
don't.
shape with the right partner to wrestle. And yeah, and he seems like another guy we were talking about, or Gabe Stevenson earlier, another guy who's an Olympic wrestler. Like Kurt, like from what they've said in interviews, stuff like that, he picked things up like relatively kind of quick too, one by one, and kind of, yeah, had a very fast rise to like, from training to just being on, pay-per-views and everything like that. But yeah, it must. And before, like before you got into wrestling, did you do like sports back in like high school and in those days and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I ran track a little bit. I was a swimmer from the time that I was, a little kid. I was on the swim team all through high school. Um, like I ran a track for a couple of years, and I was always active, always playing sports, playing football. I never played like football on a team,
Yeah,
but like organized football. But we would always play. We'd watch the Packers play on Sundays, and then go out and play full tackle, no pads, out in the lot next to my friend's house, or in the back of the spec. There was this cemetery. I remember there was this big open field behind the cemetery, and we used to go play there. Or we'd actually go to the high school and play. Um, so I was always athletic, always doing moving, climbing trees, stuff like that. And then when I got into high school, I started taking Taekwondo and Eskrima, which is a Filipino martial arts, stick fighting, associated with stick fighting. So I did have some experience with martial arts and fighting. So, I think that added to being able to pick up pro wrestling and
yeah,
make it look somewhat believable. Because, like, yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of my students run into is they've never been in a fight before.
yeah,
And I'm not saying that they should go out and start fights with people, but like
yeah,
they've either never been in a fight before, never done amateur wrestling or taekwondo or any like jujitsu or anything like that. I think it's super, super important.
yeah. No, I agree. And it was kind of what we were talking about earlier of just like kind of having that experience to pull from, as far as things they're doing in between punches, getting down, and kind of, yeah, even the lead up of face to face in the ring, just any of that. I think, yeah, it definitely helps. But yeah, you can get in more legal fights with stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, talking about sports, one question I did have is, what are you thinking as far as the Packers this year? Are you feeling good about them?
So I'm going to be honest. I don't know because I have just over the course of the last like 5 years or so, I've just gradually sort of, I don't really pay attention to
Yeah, it's a football. Yeah.
much. Yeah.
I think
Um,
fantasy has been keeping me in.
no, I totally get that. Fantasy,
Yeah,
like I played fantasy for one year. I hated it.
hated it.
I
Yeah. You
yeah,
either
I
love it or
did.
hate it, I think. Yeah, it's either one or you're doing it. Yeah.
Well,
I,
I hated it because like it forced me to like root against my team,
yeah. No, it
right?
puts
Because
you
like if
in
you've got
vicarious
somebody,
situations. Yeah.
if you have somebody on your lineup that is on the opposing team that week, it's like you gotta cheer for
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
without a
that guy.
doubt.
I was definitely a homer. Like I got labeled a homer right away. That I picked a bunch of Packers players to have on my roster, which is
Yeah.
taboo.
No, it always is, but I'm a Giants fan. I try to do the same a little bit. I want to enjoy my team even more if I'm gonna if I'm gonna add them. But yeah, no, it puts you in positions where like, yeah, you start almost like rooting against a team. Like, I guess we can give up another touchdown if it's to my guy, and then yeah, it makes it a whole different thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, and that's why a lot of people like sports changes too. I don't think pro wrestling's always been the same to me. As sports change, you get older, you know you can bet anywhere now if you want to, or like I don't know, it's yeah. And then people that you're watching it with don't even care who wins; they just care who wins the bet. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely just changes. And I think yeah, um, but yeah. And as far as like growing up in Wisconsin, did you like was there any like indie wrestling or events that you went to growing up, or is there like what was it your first event? Was that like when you started kind of training and you just let me check this out?
No, I remember there being an independent wrestling company that came and did like a show, where they like pull you out of class, they pull everybody out of class and the whole school goes to the auditorium and you watch, somebody come in and do some sort of whether it be some sort of public speaking or and some kind of event. I remember there being like it must have been an independent wrestling crew that came in and put on like 3 matches. And I remember that when I was in grade school. So I would probably had to be like third or fourth grade. Other than that, I watched wrestling very briefly when Saturday night's main event started up, the original one,
Yeah,
and Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling was on Saturday morning cartoons. Um, Fell away from it, and then just never liked it. I was one of those guys that thought, "Oh, this is fake. I hate it. It sucks."
yeah,
I make fun of people. My other friends, I give them a hard time if they liked wrestling or they wore a wrestling shirt or something like that. Um, yeah, so like I knew nothing about wrestling until one of my friends sort of forced the issue and put on wrestling one night, and I saw Steve Austin do his thing, and I just kind of was like, okay, that guy's pretty cool. And then I started watching. My roommates at the time were big wrestling fans, and they would watch every Monday night. And so I started like, hey, call me down when Steve Austin comes on. And then while I was watching or waiting for Steve, so I'd see the Undertaker do something. And then the guys would start, oh, well, this story, he just found out that that guy right there in the red mask is his brother, and it's his long lost brother. And you know what I mean? And I just slowly but surely got roped into all the characters and storylines. And before too long, and I mean, like within a period of like 2 months, I was completely hooked, wrestling on my mind all the time. It was super popular, and I'd go to work, and that's what guys would be talking about. I was a security guard at a nuclear power plant, so we'd sit in these little boxes all night long, and the only thing you could read, and nobody had like our cell phones were archaic at the time. You could play like Snake on them, uh,
yeah, yeah.
and that was about it. So there wasn't any doom scrolling or anything even close to that.
Yeah,
And we would just call each other and talk about wrestling. See what happened on Monday Night Raw, and then I just slowly but surely, quickly
yeah,
became a huge fan.
yeah. I mean, and it was beating Monday Night Football at the time too for a period of time, and not even
Yep,
by a little, by a lot. Yeah,
kill it,
and
crushing it.
yeah, and that's why I saw kind of this kind of uprise in wrestling again was being so infused with the culture, of the mainstream culture and independence as well. I mean, even I love seeing indie wrestling shows that have like indie bands, perform or do something, it's great to see too. And like now I guess, new contemporary artists like these streamers and stuff, but you see that from the
Yeah.
top to the bottom, from WWE down to an indie event, like, you know, connecting, within culture. So I think it's definitely in a healthy place
What-
and hopefully going into its like attitude into ruthless aggression era, I'm hoping. But I guess it kind of seems like that.
Yeah. One of the things that I see more and more nowadays is indie shows that draw huge crowds.
Yeah,
It's like
no,
I was just on I over the course of the last 2 months, I have been on shows that had 1 to 2,000 people in attendance. That was just like never heard of when I was coming up on the indies.
yeah, well, I mean, when I go back and watch like the old YouTube videos of, other wrestlers like doing some indie stuff, you see it, OBW, there's all these top guys in the rings and and there's crowds aren't, really anything too crazy,
High
like
school gyms,
80 to 100,
Yeah.
but now like, but then we'll go to a high school gym and there'll be like 500 to 600, 800 people in there, sometimes even
yeah.
more. And it's wild. And like they can make some pretty great money because like a lot of these indie shows I'm going to like, like they can sell tickets for like solid prices and you're not mad about it because you're getting a lot of matches. And I think the biggest thing too, is I like people that like were kind of not sure about wrestling, bring them to an indie event, like always blows their mind because you're also so close to it as well, and experiencing that, like, I love seeing like the big events and I've gone close to those too, but yeah, indie events, like it's just so much, you just feel so much more part of it and interconnected and and everyone always has a great time for sure, especially if it's the right promotion, but yeah.
Definitely.
I wanted to ask,
You talk about guys being able to make money. Sorry, real
you're
quick.
good.
Uh, talk about guys being able to make money. I have a student of mine who he's only had probably 5 matches. And he told me just the other day, he said, I've already made like 1,800 bucks this year from just merchandise and stuff. Because he's got a kind of a cool character and he sells, he's gotten into the merch and it's kind of crazy. Like for
Yeah.
somebody who has no experience, no name, like no people don't know who they are to make that kind of money doing independent wrestling. It's pretty cool. And I'm not gonna say like not everybody can do that. That's not gonna happen for everybody, but it is possible. You know, just Danhausen just
Yeah.
wrote his own ticket. He he got himself over. So anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, yeah,
No,
you're
yeah.
good. I was gonna say I think like the fan base is just so healthy and like thriving, and it's like it's cool that you're willing to give back, and put like your info out there. That's how I found you to get this interview. I was on Threads and I was like, oh, looks like we
Yeah.
found our next guest. So I don't know, like what does it mean to you to like be able to connect to fans in such like a tangible way?
So a couple of years ago, I don't know if I was listening to an interview or somebody just like mentioned it to me, but I heard Ashton Kutcher just got a second line and dedicated it to like fans and started handing out his number. He would just get, and people could text him or call him, and just it was his way of connecting with the fans. And um, me giving out my number was a business decision for me first and foremost, right? To get my number out because like I'm still active, I still take bookings. I have the wrestling school. I do shout outs. I do podcasts and stuff like that. But also, I thought, if I give it out on bigger platforms, I will get fans that will contact me. And I went on CBV's podcast. Was the first time that I had been giving it out actually for years. I had been posting it on my Instagram, which I only have like 100,000 subscribers on my Instagram or just over that. It's not like a huge number of people. Um, but so I said that I was going to give out my number, and Chris was like, "Well, hang on before you do that. You might not want to do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I do. I'm cool." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I'm definitely sure." He goes, "All right." And so I gave out the number. His his podcast dropped on like a Tuesday at 6 a.m. And by 7 a.m., my phone it sounded like I just won the lottery. It's like ding, ding, ding. I got over the course of 4 or 5 days, I had like 800 messages, mostly text messages, some phone calls, and with people leaving messages, and most of them were just fans. Most of them were people just, and for me, it's been a really good experience. It's been, for the most part, super positive. Every once in a while, I'll get somebody that sends something nasty, but I'll have fun with those. I'll
Yeah,
even,
yeah,
you decide in the minute, do I want to like pull at this thread a little bit and have a little fun, go back and forth a little bit? Most of the time, I just ignore it because, like,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
but it's been good. It's been cool.
Yeah, I think that speaks to like, I don't know, just your gratitude toward the business and like the people that, are so invested in it, So I appreciate that.
I tried in that, with those 800 messages or so, I probably responded to 750 of them, which is crazy. Like, but it was, you know, thank you. I appreciate it. You
yeah.
know,
And we're CBV fans, and yeah, that was probably one of my favorite episodes of the year. I would say it like stood out. But yeah, I don't know, he's great. I feel like he's one of our best, like kind of like because he's been because I've been following him for a while, and like yeah, I mean he's always had his regular interviews he does that he's won like Emmys and stuff for and red carpets, and yeah, I feel like those, and he's just like such a good guy too. So like I don't know, I feel like it's really easy to watch his stuff, and he always gets like I think genuine interviews too because that's the energy he's pushing out. But
yeah,
yeah,
I've tried. I've been interviewed by him 5 times, I think,
yeah,
but I cried 2 of them. So like he's definitely gets people to like let their guard down. The thing about Chris is like he doesn't go into the gutter,
yeah,
right? He doesn't go out like, start trying to get gotcha questions or get the dirt or anything like that. But if it comes up through natural conversation and you're willing to go there, he's willing to go there. But he doesn't. It doesn't feel gross like it does
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, and he
It's
doesn't
like,
look like he's like looking for clips and yeah,
nope,
whatever. Yeah,
nope.
that's I think it comes across the way, and like it seems like he's actually asking questions that like he genuinely wants to know and cares about, and yeah, I think that's why it plays
The-
well to the fans, and yeah, I think that's why you do well in an episode, like because there's a lot of wrestlers that like have some type of facade or whatever, and half character will carny some questions or whatever. But yeah, I think
yeah,
that some of the most general interviews, and it could be a shoot interview that doesn't have to, because I think whenever I thought shoot interviews, because going back to
Sensationalism.
yeah, and a lot of them are always like very just messed up stories and just like the gossip of the industry and stuff like that. But like you can have a shoot interview where you just don't don't go to those places, I guess, and it's just still the truth of everything, but yeah, no,
the
like
the other thing that
vengeful
irrit
stuff.
the other thing that irritates me about a lot of, even I've had like respectful conversations where none of the negative stuff comes up, and then that that person will tag me in their post, like a clip from the show, and it'll be like the headline will be Ken Kennedy shoots on so and so. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
It's
and then
so,
because you think the
and then you click
connotation
on
of
it,
like, yeah,
and
and you get to be
I'm not
talking about a
shooting
good
on
story.
anybody. We're just talking about this person, you know. But you try to, and I get it. I get that stuff gets clicks. You know,
Yeah,
I understand it, but I
yeah,
don't. I don't want to go there. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But
We're gonna
My
let you
kids are
go.
my kids
yeah,
are calling in a couple minutes.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just want to know what's next for you and what do you want to plug?
Well, the only thing that I know for sure that's next for me is I'm gonna keep training my students at the academy. So yeah, if anybody is interested in getting into the business, and either relocating to Minneapolis, St. Paul, or you already live here, um, again, I put out my number. It's on all my social media, but the number is 507-722-2776. You can text me, please, and leave a message. Like I put my number out there all the time, and I'm amazed by how many people will call. And I don't just answer every call that comes to my phone. In fact, I rarely answer. But I don't. The only two people that I like to talk to on the phone are my mom and my wife. That's it, and my kids.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm amazed by how many people call and then they never leave a message, or they'll text me and say, "Hey," or "Yo," and it's like I'm not responding to that either. So, with that being said, I'm still actively taking bookings. I do coaching. I do online coaching. If you're active in the business and you want me to sit down with you and go over your match and kind of pick it apart and critique, I love to do that stuff. Steve Austin used to do that with me at WWE, which was a crazy experience, but it was something that I really, really grew from a lot. And so I try to do that as much as I can today. I do shout out videos, stuff like that. And then my podcast is on YouTube. It's on Stitcher, iTunes, Apple, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts from. It's called Mic Check with Mr. Anderson. So, and we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. I've said when we get to 100,000, I'm going to do a deep, deep dive documentary style on my final experience in the WWE, my situation with Randy Orton, John Cena, and the tag match from it was where we were dressed up, like the Lakers versus the
Lakers
Utah.
and Nuggets, or
Nuggets,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Nuggets,
yeah,
yeah, Denver Nuggets. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Watched that clip so many times, and I just don't see it. But
Well, you don't see it because it's not there.
yeah,
So
no, yeah, 100%. And yeah, and kind of about that too. Just one last thing, like I felt like I, I always kind of like assume from your interviews and how you kind of talk through your career that like you might have issues with them, but it seemed like all the veterans, like the Undertaker and stuff like that, were kind of seemed like they always kind of had some respect for you, or like were kind of good mentors in ways as far as like the younger guys are concerned.
yeah, I mean those guys were just amazing to me. Taker, Booker, Ray, Eddie, just like they would take they took me under their wing. I saw them do the same with, MVP, a few other people. So yeah, I was very, very fortunate to start out on SmackDown, on the SmackDown side of things when I got to WWE. I'm so glad that I started there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a great roster to come into for sure.
Thank you so much, Ken, for coming on. We really appreciate you. We'll let
Yeah,
you get
Thank you
back to your
guys.
family.
Thank you guys so
yeah,
much for having me. If you ever want to do it again,
yeah,
hit me up.
of course. Yeah, and I guess
Definitely.
we'll call this episode "Ken Anderson Shoots on the Whole World."
Like it. I love it.
Yes. But yeah. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Invasion Angle.
Bet you love that sweet ass podcast. I am John Cena and I approve this message. Boobies.